Welcome to Italian Roots and Genealogy, where history lives in our blood. We explore the journeys, records, and family stories that connect Italy to the world. Because when you discover your roots, you don't just find names, you find yourself. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel and our blog and our newsletter and our great sponsor, Phil Italy. And my guest today is author Giuseppe Garuffi. So, welcome, Giuseppe. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
So I know you're originally from Italy. So where is the family from? And then you've moved to several other locations, correct?
Yes, it's okay. My family definitely is 100% from Italy, and my father was from Roccalumera in Provincia di Messina, in province of Messina, and my mother was from Randazzo in the province of Catania. They lived in Santa Teresa di Riva. We had a jewelry store in Santa Teresa together also with my sister Tina, and that she also had another jewelry in Roccalumera. But anyway, I was there. I was working with my family, basically in the jewelry. At the time, I was also a jewelry designer. And when I was 30 years old, I left Sicily. For a reason, I don't know, I never fit over there. But anyway, so I left Sicily. I had an occasion to go to Venezuela. And I was living there for about 10 years. And I was there at the time when Chavez tried to give a coup, and I was there that day, as a matter of fact. Anyway, after that, I kept working. I kept working for an Italian company that was supplier for the Defense Department of Venezuela. So I was basically a lobbyist at the Defense Department for this company. And after that, 1998, I came to the United States. Since then, I'm still here. So I lived in Florida. I live in Florida, and I live in Deerfield right now. And that's it. Basically, that's my life. I used to be a representative for an Italian company, and till 2 years ago. And now I just dedicate to write books, which is something new in my life because I never thought that I would do something like this. So anyway, it's kind of things that happen at a certain point of our lives that never happened before. Now it's here where we are.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what happened with me too, with some of my what I'm doing now for the last 10 years and doing this kind of stuff, which being retired now, it keeps me something to do. Everybody says, "Oh, I don't want to retire. I have nothing to do." I said, "You'll find something. You'll come up with something."
Yeah.
So what was interesting about what you said? You said you never really fit in with Sicily, and there's so many Italian Americans that feel they need to go back because they miss something.
That's well, in reality, that's true because when we live here, we always feel the necessity to go back, to the place where we are from. And so I usually go at least once a year. Usually, the last two times were in occasion of my sister's birthday in May 5th. She didn't know that I was going. As a matter of fact, it was just a surprise for her. But yes, I do like it. Of course, I mean, there are certain things that I don't like over there, but it's part of our life. I don't know. Sometimes we think that maybe the place where we are from doesn't fit very well with us at a certain point of our lives. And we want something more. We want to be able to open spaces. And certain things are impossible to do in the place where actually we are from. So it's a little complicated to explain, but I think it's very common to other people like me because maybe some people could be something different in life if they had the opportunity to be born in a different place. But I don't want, of course, to renegade absolutely the place where I'm from. Absolutely never. I love Sicily. I love my people there, and I am very happy anytime I go there. But I was able to do things in my life that probably I would never be able to do if I was there. Working with the military, that I love, that it would be probably difficult to me to do if I was living in Sicily. And be international representative, it would be probably difficult if I was there. So this opportunity just probably came because I was living here. And apart, I mean, this country give opportunity other countries in the world don't. And in my life, I had the opportunity to live in different places, and honestly, there is no place like this. Even with all the contradiction and problem that eventually we can have, or we did add, is difficult to think another country like this. I'm very appreciative for everything.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because a lot of people who live here have never gone anyplace else or lived anyplace else. I mean, we had the opportunity to live in England for 2 years. When you live someplace, you get a whole different perspective on not only that place. You're not just a visitor anymore; you're a resident.
Observe, you're a citizen at this point.
Yeah, but also, that you get to appreciate some of the differences. I mean, England was a great place to be and to live, but to your point, there were just even there were things that you couldn't get there that you could get here, and it was very, very expensive. I mean, I
No,
was
tell me about it. I was there last week. I was there last week in London, and anytime I was paying, I was say, look like I broke something because I mean it was always extremely expensive. I mean, I was losing 40% anytime I was changing from dollar to English pound. So I mean, I was there just for 4 days because I went there for the book show in London, and but really, anytime I was paying something, it was like, my God, really, it's like dollar is worth nothing right now.
yeah. When I was there, it wasn't too bad. I mean, I think it was maybe $1.20 or something like that. But I was an expat, and unless I was buying something on my own, it didn't really matter. The housing was paid for, and I had extra money to live on and things like that. But uh, especially things like gas, for the car and stuff like that. You're like, phew, wow, boy, that's expensive.
No, listen, I was using just taxis, and because I wouldn't be able to drive. I mean, I drive everywhere, but I wouldn't be able to drive in England because the fact that they drive in a different size. Honestly, I was really confused myself because I didn't know from where I had to wait for a taxi because they were coming always from the different direction where I was expecting them to. But anyway, it's nice. I mean, London is it's a beautiful city. I've
Yeah,
never seen so many people like there in my life. I mean, it's unbelievable. Not even in New York. I mean, New York, of course, is very populated, but you are in London, it's like, I don't know, people coming from everywhere.
yeah. I haven't been there for a long time. I was in Venezuela once. We took a cruise. We were there for a day, 1982. The only thing that we found fascinating there was um, we were going from the port to downtown Caracas.
La
Like
Guaira.
like every maybe 100 yards there was a soldier. So we asked the taxi driver. They said, "Why is there a soldier every 100 yards?" And he said, "Our president is coming today. It was Independence Day. It was July 5th, I think, was their Independence Day." And we said, "Boy, the people must really like this guy if there's got to be a soldier every 100 yards."
That's our way. That's our way. You see, I was working with them for about 10 years, so I know exactly their mentality. I still have some friends in their world, but of course now they are not active anymore because they are already in pension. But anyway, I know the way they have this place they call Al, which are like block places that they have every I don't know how many kilometers that they check papers for everybody. It's not that they stop everybody, but sometimes it's like random. So it happened to me a couple of times. And I had one time I had a venture because I was in a bus coming back from Maracaibo to Maracay, which is in the center of the country. During the night, I was traveling with a bus, and there is one of these places where the military stop the bus and they check the papers for people on board. At the time, I remember that I was wearing a military jacket that a military friend that I used to have at the time, he just gave it to me for as a gift. So one of these two National Guard look at me, look at my papers, and then he say, "Why you wearing a jacket that is a military jacket. And I said, well, this was a gift. He took the jacket from me. Unfortunately, well, for him, he didn't know that I had powerful friends in the military department at the time. And just by noon next day, I had the jacket back. So, but anyway, these are just the situation that, I mean, it's nice to remember. It's nice to remember because, as I said, I mean, this situation would never happen if I was living in Santa Teresa. So, I mean, I have something to tell, like now. And yeah, it's a very, it's a fantastic world, the military world. And really, I still remember, and I don't know, today it's many years after, I still remember with pleasure. I mean, it was really nice talking to them, knowing their word, and having the opportunity to working with them, and also having them as a friends. First of all, I remember another night that I don't drink, for example. We were in a was a club, a military club in Maracay. I was at the time with a girlfriend from Venezuela that I had at the time. We were sitting in a table at a table. There were like I would say maybe 10, 12 people sitting at the same table, and everybody was drinking because their drinking is the number one job. So especially when they don't work. So I wasn't drink. My girlfriend wasn't drink either. Everybody was drinking, and so the colonel that I was together at the table, he said, "No, Giuseppe, you don't have to pay for, for because you are not drinking." So I say, "Okay, no problem." So we just eat and drink something. But at a certain point of the night, he was already drunk. So when he was drunk, he lost the control. He told me, Giuseppe, now you start paying. Because, I mean, anyway. So at that point, I told my girlfriend, I said, I think it's time to go. Because it was becoming very expensive. They were taking bottle of rum, and it became a little expensive at that time. So we say, okay, much better if we leave. But anyway, that's the story.
So now, is there a large Italian population in Venezuela?
In Venezuela, yes. Yes, I was in Maracay, and at that time, the most important person there was Sindoni. Sindoni was from Sicily. He was somebody who started actually from nothing. He started making pasta, and he was going around with a bicycle when he started, of course, many selling this pasta. Then he became a factory for Pasta Sindoni, and then he made some tomato sauce, and then he became the owner of a newspaper, and then he became became owner of almost everything. The biggest building in Maracay was actually Sindoni. The problem was that at a certain point, and I wasn't living there anymore, he was kidnapped, and the driver, he was traveling with the car, he was killed at the time, and at a certain point, he was killed too. They found him killed. So dead. So, I mean, he was the president of the Casa Italia in Venezuela, and was the president of all the Casa Italia in Venezuela. Casa Italia Maracay, I mean, and then he was president of all the Casa Italia in Venezuela. Yes, to your question, there are many, many Italian. I think he is the second population in Venezuela after the Spanish. And then the Lebanese also is very, very numerous. As a matter of fact, I used to say to see many people from Lebanon coming to Casa Italia, and they were joining it. But yes, Italian in Venezuela are a lot, and most of these people now live here in the United States, or they went back to Italy. Some of them, couple of friends of mine, I spoke to them last week when I was in England. They emigrated to England because they couldn't live there anymore. Situation is really bad, and it's the security. It's really, really bad. So I didn't go back to Venezuela anymore. I think probably last time it was 15 or 16 years ago, maybe more.
Yeah, yeah, no, I understand. It's pretty rough there. So, what I'm going to assume that your families were in those two towns in Sicily for ever and ever and ever. What was it
Yeah.
like? What was it like as a child in Sicily back, I guess, in the season?
Well, My youth was very good, as a matter of fact, because I told you, I mean, my family had a jewelry store. And I had a pretty good life, I would say. At the time, I used to have a discotheque actually in my house because my father bought a house. So we had like a room that was under the house, and my father didn't know what to do and say, okay, let's do something. I would like to have a disco over there. And I did it. Well, he did it for me. So every weekend we used to have party with the all my friends from the school, the high school, and even the teachers were participating to this. So it was pretty nice. I mean, at that time I had some rough time also, but this due to my choices and not all the time right. So, but anyway, living in Sicily at the time was pretty good. I don't know because now I'm living 35 years already, 36 years away from Sicily. So I don't know exactly how the life will be now, but I don't think it is that different anyway.
So was the family in the jewelry business for like many, many
Yeah,
years?
because my grandfather, they used to be in the jewelry also, and my grandfather was a watchmaker. My father, when he got married to my mother, he of course watching to my grandfather, he became a watchmaker too. But then, I mean, for different situation, they moved for a while to Roccalumera, which is like I would say 5 miles from Santa Teresa. It is a main center, and we had another jewelry over there. Till my grandfather and grandmother, they one night somebody decided to walk in their houses and try to steal what they were selling. So at that point, we reunite again. So my father, my mother, excuse me, my sister, we went back to Santa Teresa, which I love. I always loved, and we stayed there forever. But yes, I mean, definitely, it's a nice place. I would say difficult sometimes, and you have to fight. You have to fight to become somebody. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean that's a really interesting business to be in. I'm going to be in Sicily in September, so yeah, maybe we'll go visit your sister.
I will be there in August.
Oh, we're just going to miss each other.
Yeah, I have an appointment with my classmates because I think he is probably 50 years after we graduate at the high school. And we're going to reunite in August. And they actually asked me when I'm going to be there exactly. So they scheduled the date in a way that I will be able to participate.
So that's cool. That's cool. So let's talk about the book because it's I guess an interesting storyline, and if you want to talk a little bit about it
Yes.
without giving away the ending or too much information, but like I said earlier, it kind of fits in with some of the things that amaze me about when you look at these places from 10,000 years ago and how stuff was created and we can't recreate it now.
Um, the book is something that came by chance. I mean, um, so at a certain point in 2023, there were some sightings in on the United States. If probably you and everybody remember the Chinese balloon, the Chinese spy balloon, how it was qualified, and that the United States under Biden they shut it down. But after that, there were another 5 different cases with sightings that the government described as balloons. It's very strange because anytime there is something like this, it's always a balloon. They describe, as a matter of fact, as metal balloons, which I never saw in my life. This is one of the, excuse me, in one of these cases, this balloon was seen in over Canada, flying over Canada, and the government of Canada asked the government of the United States to intervene. So the United States, NORA, which is the center for that take a look at everything that is happening over the aerospace, over the United States space, and intervene with 2 warplanes. And under the order of President Biden, they shut down this system, which went down on the Lake Urok, so in the United States. After that, the government didn't say anything else. Everybody, even the same congressmen, they were asking for information, but the government never said anything in particular. They just described this like a balloon that was difficult to recover from the water because it was under ice in Lake Ovurok. So this was basically one of these items, story that gave me the opportunity to create a real story. So I use this plus two particular things that happened during my youth when I was still living in Sicily that are described in the book. Of course, the description is not exactly 100% real because I put something that is coming from my fantasy. But the fact that these two cases actually really happen. So I put together and I create a story where a little different than the usual story that the United States and Hollywood uh, has in their movies. So there are no aliens coming to Earth that want to destroy us. What I created was a story where an alien being is recovered from the crash, from the Lake Kuro crash, and brought to a base in the United States, a secret base of the United States. The base is the 63. And in this base, other scientists living in the United States in different fields, like quantic physics, doctors, even theologists, are called to have the opportunity to talk face to face to this being. So these people, they don't know before they go to this base under the order of the President of the United States what they are going to do there. So they just realize when they are already at the base. And the opportunity is to asking this guy, that he is exactly like us. I mean, there is no special face, no big eyes, no green people, no nothing. I mean, he's just a regular person like you, me, and everybody else. They're asking questions, thinking that they know everything and they have all the answers. The reality is that when he give he talk to these people, the scientists and these teachers and doctors and theologists, that all the answers they thought were true, now they are not. So basically is when you have all the answers, somebody change all the questions. So he goes everywhere. He talk about, I mean, I don't want to go in deep about this because it would be a little too long. But anyway, the body is perfectly like us in the exterior, but inside is a little different. And he talk about cancer. He talk about different illness, and the doctors will ask him how they worked. I mean, to avoid the illness that we have in this world, not to have the same illness in the world. And he gives certain answers, and he say that basically everything in the world, everything in the universe works on frequency. It's like when we listen to a radio, we just see the radio, but you change the frequency, you change basically the total word that you are listening to. So the word and the body work exactly the same way. Sometimes when cancer or other illness happen is just because the body start working on a different frequency, and we have to reset everything in the frequency that it should be. This is basically, something that is in the book. Then the theologist is asking about characters that we have in our story and in our beliefs about Jesus, about everything, angels, and he's going to give the answers. He's leaving the theologist, which is a woman, in trouble because, I mean, she at a certain point she has to decide if she will adopt this new knowledge that is totally new for her, or just keep thinking, keep teaching what was her knowledge before. It's going to be in contrast in the laws about moving in space is going to be totally changed too, because we think that we just go from one point A to another point B or C or D or Z, and it's not this way, because it will explain that universe work in a different way. The title of the book is The Meeting. Some doors once crossed change everything. Why this? Because this frequency that they use when they travel, not just in universe, but also in different dimensions, changing, it's like a radio. When you change the frequency, you change the world that is around you. So you just need to be careful to choose the right doors. It's like doors. Once you change the frequency, you open a door. You need to be always very aware to know what door you are opening, because not all doors exactly are going to be positive for the incoming. So this is the base of this book. Now, who is the main character in this book? He is a character that, like me, he comes from Santa Teresa di Riva. So this little village, well, little village no, because it's more than 10,000 people. Today, probably more. I put like my family in certain way in this situation. I put even my sister in this story. So the name is Alessandro Raimondi, and this guy is from Sicily. At a certain point of his life, he emigrated to the United States, where actually he became he's a teacher at the university here in Florida, and he became also part of NASA. So this allowed him to be working in certain field that he is a quantistic scientist. He applied the quantic physics to the movement and speed of the rockets flying in space. So this exactly is his job. So he became the main character in this book because he's going to be the one that at the end will be chosen by this alien to go to the next stage of our life, because it will tell him that this world, it's not the first time that it's finished. It's destroyed and then restart again. So this time will be probably a very important part of his life, because he need to be the one who will bring this humanity to the next stage. And he say he's not prepared for this. So the alien will tell him that he will not be alone, because they are going to be with him in this final stage of humanity. So I want to bring in this book, in the next book also, somebody that is from Sicily. So it will bring my personal experience, like somebody who was born in Sicily and then emigrated to the United States, but also with a passage in Venezuela. So is everything condensated in this book. It's not just a science fiction book. It's a different kind of science fiction. As a matter of fact, when we were working on with the publisher on the cover, and they heard about UFO, and they say, "Well, we are going to have an UFO." I say, "No, absolutely not," because the book is not about UFO. It's not about Sidon. It is just a marginal. The book is about revelation to this world about something that we ignore. That is part of our history. Excuse me. It's part of our history, but it's a part of history that we sometimes don't want to recognize. Realities are everywhere. We just don't want to see them. Now, the book is particularly okay in this moment, because it is in a moment that many people in the United States are looking for answers from the government. Steven Spielberg is coming now in June with I think he is the Disclaim Day or something like this, which is about aliens. Other authors, they came with the witness telling about their story and revelation of things that we didn't know before. They were also asked questions from the Congress, and many of these people, many of these are former militaries, former fighter pilots, that they, at a certain point of their life, they just came in, how can I say, collided with this reality that is UFO. That is not something new. It's something that was already always there. But for some reason, the government is is strange, very strange. I mean, they don't talk, they don't want to talk about this. I remember something that was really strange when the book came out. I had something on LinkedIn, and at a certain point, I have a notification and say, "High military in the field of communication internet watched my profile." I don't know, probably realized that it was just a fantasy and there was nothing dangerous for them. But you see, I mean, this is really strange. It's something very actual anyway. People are asking right now for question. It's not that I want to give the answers because I don't have the answer. I mean, I just believe, and I had certain um, in 2 3 different occasions I had the opportunity to witness these facts. So I'm talking from that standpoint, not just something that I invented. Because something is, one thing is somebody tell you something, another thing is when you actually see something and you don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
I had these two situations in at least 2 different occasions in the book, both of them. And so I started from these two personal experiences to come with this book.
Yeah, I read Chariot of the Gods
Yes.
probably almost 60 years ago now, 55 years or something like that. I've always been fascinated about it. And, when I watch the Ancient Aliens and, there's just so many things that you can't be explained, how, and I was talking in a previous interview, he was an architect and I asked him and he said, I can't explain it, but how there are places today that are built that we either can't figure out how they were built or we can't recreate it, even with all our modern technology, and they couldn't lift the stones and all of that kind of stuff. Something happened at some point in the history of Earth that just can't be explained.
No, part is strange because the same construction that we are talking about are not just in one place. The same techniques are used in different places in the world that we didn't know before, but now we realize the same kind of technology that they used at the time is used in different other part geographically different places in the world. So there is something common on with this. Now that's exactly one of the things that I talk in the book when this alien being say that the signs that they were here all the time and they actually witnessed the creation of this world are everywhere. We don't just want to see them, and most of these are under the sea. So in certain way, I mean, it's impossible for us to see, but we know that are covered. So we don't see them right now, but they are there. Also, there are other things like you just said about construction, about architecture that are totally visible. We just don't know how to explain them. It's just, I mean, we can just guessing. But what we think is a science fiction today, probably tomorrow is going to be reality.
Yeah.
This world is working a different way. Since the end of the Second World War, something has changed drastically because the changes that we were having before the Second World War at that time were very slow. But after the Second World War, every change come very fast. And now the advent of the AI it changed everything. It's like all the rule of play are changed, one shot. So everything that is, for example, something that is update for today already tonight is going to be different. Tomorrow morning is going to be obsolete already. So we just need to go at the same speed. Now, certain people are open-minded and they accept all these changes without questioning them. Other people, they start questioning about this, about that. At the end, they just end up in guessing and more guessing and more guessing without answers. At a certain point, we have to accept what is reality, for what reality is, and be open-minded. That's what I am. I always was this way in my life, and I will never change. I mean, for me, life is just not because today I am 69 years old, but I was this way when I was already 12 years old. I mean, I was imagining this world, how it would be in the future. And that's the reason why probably I end up here. I mean, I am open minded in these and many, many other things, of course.
Well, uh, our Italian teacher at the club, he's 92. And, so when you think about, I said to him the other day, I said, you've gone through so many changes. You've gone from, almost horse and buggies to radio to television to, cellular phones to computers and all of that kind of stuff. Just in his lifetime, the stuff that he's seeing. I mean, I'm 75, even in my lifetime, but I grew up with television. I didn't grow up with radio. The guys who were 10 or 15 years older than me grew up with radio. So, when you think about how things have evolved in just 100 years, it's quite incredible. And who knows, the next 100 years is going to do, like you said, leaps and bounds.
Not necessarily 100 years. I mean, you see, I mean, we probably, before the Second World War, remember the planes were just probably paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
My father was flying in one of those paper plane. And at a certain point now we have jets. But the jets now we are already are not just supersonic. We are looking already for hypersonic.
Mm-hmm.
But what we are looking about quantistic rules that now they supposedly they will allow us to just cover incredible space in a very short time. The fact that people want to go to Mars, and we probably will take 9 months to go there. In certain way, Einstein they were working a different way because with the warp, I mean, we can just fly. I mean, we can just travel, not fly, but travel from one dimension to the other, just in a very short time. So we need to be prepared for this because AI, especially, is bringing us to different frontiers right now. And the fact that many people try to work against, I understand that AI can be a problem for many people for sure, because it's going to take their jobs. But at the same time, it's something that opened for us frontiers that in a different way we wouldn't be able to cover. So changes are going to be faster than they used to be. And we need to try to control AI, but I recognize that at the same time it's going to be difficult because it's like one mind working against 1 million minds at the same time. So it's going to be very difficult. And people today, they need to be prepared for what is happening because even people that think that, people think I'm going to get a degree, I'm going to become a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or whatever it is, they are going to realize very soon that these jobs in reality are less secure than jobs like a plumber
Mm-hmm.
or somebody that works with actually with his own hands. Because, and there are many movies, as a matter of fact, they tell about this future, but a doctor doesn't need to be in one place because a robot is going to be already there. So the robotic medicine that is already now. I mean, a doctor can be in Australia and do a surgery here in Fort Lauderdale or in New York or in Los Angeles because he is robotic already. An attorney today is somebody that he goes to and talk to. I mean, he goes to a place, he goes to a courthouse to talk to judges. What about if this attorney tomorrow is going to be already obsolete? What about if the same judge is going to be obsolete?
Mm-hmm.
Because once a computer has all the cases, if you present somebody that need to be judged, a computer can make a decision. Now, of course, it will not calculate the human way to judge situation. It's going to be more mechanic, more practical, and but this is the future.
Yeah.
So all this teacher, why you need a teacher in a room with some people teaching them when somebody can just have a screen and AI that actually reproduce today people perfectly. Sometimes in the video you don't recognize the reality from AI. It's going to be there just teaching these people. So even teachers, they're going to become obsolete. It's a very difficult to believe and accept reality, but this is happening. And it's not happening tomorrow. It's happening already today. So people, they need to be very aware of what actually the future is. And sometimes I think I'm too negative, but I don't think he is negativity, or he is just be real and conscious of what actually is happening today.
Yeah,
And
well,
people have
my
to see this.
my I just had cataract surgeries, and my to your point, my surgeon said in 10 years I won't need to do this. It'll just be. He said you won't need a human at all. He said the robot is just going to do the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult today for kids that are 10 years or 11 years. It's very difficult to imagine a future for them, because I mean this future is changing. It's changing drastically in a very fast time. So the family, they have to think about what to do, because the future is not exactly the same that we have today. So everybody needs to be prepared.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear exactly what you're saying. So before we go, where could people find the book if they want to purchase it?
Well, the book is this, and the book is on Amazon at this time and Barnes and Noble, and it can be bought on the website, both of them. I mean, just people go to Amazon, it's Giuseppe Garuffi, The Meeting, and the book is there. Same situation with Barnes and Noble, Giuseppe Garuffi, The Meeting. Sometimes they add some doors once closed, change everything. They add that just because with the same title there are other books too, so they make a certain differentiation in this way. But that's the book. Now I am about to coming out with the second book. It is not gonna be science fiction anymore. Just at the end, slightly at the end, it's gonna be something about politics. The same character, Alessandro Raimondi, that in the first book he is a NASA scientist, in the second book become senator of the United States. And we are gonna see something that is gonna be incredible. I mean, the second book, I really love it. I'm looking forward to have it out, because really it's something that I was working for the past year, and open to the reality that we are living today in the United States and in the world, that everything can change, even there. I mean, everything that we say, oh, this never happened. And the book revealed that, yes, it never happened until it will.
Hmm.
So exactly what actually dramatization of what the reality of the reality that we are living today.
Well,
So that's
I'll
my future.
have to have you on when the second book comes out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
We'll talk
much.
about that book too.
Thank you.
Well, this was great, great fun, great conversation. I really enjoyed it. And don't go away. I'm just going to stop the recording, and we got to wait for the things to
Thank
catch
you.
up a little
Of
bit.
course. Yeah. Thank